Hello, my name is Oonagh. I live outside Banbridge and I would describe myself as a mixed media artist. Since coming from BA photography and during my first year of MFA, I've been immersing myself in material research, finding my way slowly and at times not very surely. As well as many other trial and errors, I've made this experimental video piece. I'm just going to let that play for a few moments. When I look back at this now, I see themes that have reoccurred in my work again more recently. Being outside with the rocks, observing the outdoors, and making subtle interventions. I like rocks. They are dependable and they are what they are. They're just like humans, that they are shaped by nature and nurture, and they're not fully understood. Speaking of rocks, it reminds me to tell you about Sumpy. On a Tuesday last November, I was on my way home from uni when I bumped into Sumpy. Sumpy is a rock who happened to be crossing the road when I bumped into him, wrecking the sump of my car. It was a minor incident, but even so, with the shock of it, we both cried. I didn't know then that it was actually a good thing that I had bumped into him. A lovely woman stopped with me and helped me, and it was good to have met a neighbour. We got my car off the road, and the next day my father-in-law took Sumpy with him, and he went door to door looking to see if anyone knew where he had came from. I ended up with a new sump and oil and tyres, so it was all good. As for Sumpy, where did he come from? No one knows. It was a complete mystery, and Sumpy was left on my front doorstep. It wasn't until I was looking at him sat there, moist with all the oil he was soaked in, and said, "What am I going to do with you?" that I thought I should do something with him. I decided to treat Sumpy to some wheels. Did you know that rocks are apparently actually soft? Soft until approached, like they're squishy and soft, and then they tense up whenever you approach them, and it makes complete sense. Had I been the one crossing the road and the rock was driving home distracted, I would have tensed up too. I spent most of my year looking for answers. Who am I? Where do I belong? What am I doing? Are these mushrooms edible? How deep is this water? I'm pretty sure at this stage I found more questions than answers. I tried looking at facts about rocks and the earth, and although fascinating and very serious stuff, it wasn't for me. I have some sort of built-in aversion to looking at data and serious things like that. Is it hereditary? No one knows. I enjoyed learning about Ogham stones, and I was really intrigued about the folklore and the tales of magic around the stones. So I returned instead to fiction. I read Steve and Paula Lally's Irish Gothic fairy stories, some of Yeats' Irish fairy and folk tales, and Hag. And while reading Hag, Forgotten Folk Tales Retold, some thoughts started to fall into place, and I began thinking about where I live as a fictional place. And maybe something was meant to show me that I didn't have to look too much further than here, where I lived between the two fairy forts. I've always had a curiosity about people and their relationships and perceptions of the truth, as well as how we are programmed to respond with optimism or pessimism, if we even respond at all to what we see and hear. I've been painting mushrooms as they appear, making inquiries with the neighbours, asking if they're edible. No one knows. Since March, with much help, I've been able to establish a studio space tucked under our house, where I've continued on with material research, as if there is some written rule that I must try out every material and every medium before I can decide what it is that I actually use and what stories I want to tell. And as I've been working away and getting settled in, I can't help but notice that the aesthetic of the studio itself is becoming more and more like something out of a fairy tale. In the studio, I potter away with whatever I have to hand. I am planning to continue with the use of bricolage, constructing and creating from a diverse range of things and mediums, developing my voice as an artist while focusing on storytelling. Alongside my art practice, I'm also co-hosting a podcast with Zara Linus called Boy Park Art. It's available on Anchor and all podcasting platforms. We chat to visitors and talk, so it is both documenting our research and our work. We're building a community of artists, and anyone is welcome to join us there.